Good morning, Mitch. Appreciate you joining us today.
Well, Chip, thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have another 10 minutes of some insight from an executive that, in your case, how long have you been with Skyline?
I joined Skyline about 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and you know, a little history briefly is we had a couple founders who built the company starting in '92, and in 2010 they decided to sell the company to associates, and
Hmm.
so I joined the company and really helped to kind of finish up some great work that was done before my arrival to figure out a deal. And in December 2010, the associates ended up buying the company from the original co-founders.
Okay. Well, one thing to note is that Skyline has had a storied past for many, many years in the state of Wisconsin as a go-to Microsoft partner, a go-to software development firm that specialized in designing and developing really sophisticated software solutions for customers. And during that period of time, and since not only 92, but since you've been with the business, a lot has changed. I mean, literally, we have the introduction of public clouds and even private clouds into the mix. I'm just curious how you've seen the business evolve within the 10 years that you've been there, in terms of addressing customer requirements and needs.
Hey, great question. So, one of the things that Skyline does is, this fine line of always follow our customer, right? And pay attention to their business. And when you understand your customer's business, then we can figure out the role that technology can play to enable that business. So our mission is to help our clients thrive. And the reason we chose that mission is we want the communities where we live and work to be amazing places. And I've never seen an amazing community without thriving companies. And so that's why our mission is to help clients thrive. Well, if you're going to enable that, you really have to pay attention to their business model, what they're doing, and then figure out how can technology enable that to happen. And sometimes there's a little bit of people don't know what they don't know, so we have to lead the thinking, and other times you have to get really integrated into their strategy and understand what they're trying to accomplish. And I think that's some of the secret sauce of Skyline is pay attention to your clients, understand what business problem we're trying to solve or how we're trying to transform their business and enable that to happen. And when you do that, it causes you to do things differently. So you mentioned that we're a software development company. I describe a big part of our business is building modern applications.
Mhm.
And those applications are designed to help our clients differentiate themselves in the marketplace. When I joined Skyline 10 years ago, I really sensed the market was, um, you know, buying off the shelf was in vogue. And, custom software had somewhat of a bad name. And so, if you think of the evolution of technology, hardware came faster than off the shelf software. And so there was a lot of custom software made that wasn't very good software. People lived with the pain of that in the 80s and 90s. And so the shift really was now, man, I'm going to go buy anything off the shelf that I can. What we've really done is say to our customers, if you have back office activity that doesn't really matter in your business model, then maybe you should buy off the shelf. But if you're trying to differentiate yourself in the market, if you're trying to have competitive advantage with your business model, then we think you should consider custom software. And oh, by the way, we've all gotten a lot better at writing applications that are scalable, and the cloud has enabled a lot of that as well. So, from a trend standpoint, I would really say that differentiation and competitive advantage and innovation is what Skyline has worked to enable in our customer base. It's not the back office stuff, because there's a lot of great software that's out there that people can buy. But if everyone buys the same software, there's no competitive advantage, there's no differentiation. And our custom software practice has tripled in the last 10 years in size. And so my concerns were really unfounded when I got here. And I think a lot of it has to do with, frankly, we're pretty good at what we do, and our customers have recognized that. And differentiation is really hard. I mean, it's really hard. And when we help with technology to differentiate, our clients appreciate that and reward us with business for that.
Excellent. So just wondering, have you found that some of the decision making that customers go through, the various steps in decision making and the individuals that are ultimately involved in that process, has that changed and evolved over the last 5 years, let's say? the participants?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, when I look at my tenure here, and I didn't grow up in IT, I was kind of the business manager who had to get a return on investment from these things. So I've been a general manager and a brand manager and not the technical guy. But when I joined, we sold a lot to IT departments, right? So we would talk to CIOs, directors of IT, and it really was a discussion about the technology. And
Mhm.
Gartner, and this is pretty common knowledge, everyone has said the decision making has moved, right? And we see more business decision makers. And I think that's a natural evolution that's occurred for two reasons. One is 10, 15 years ago, the technology teams would walk into a general manager like myself and say, look at this is what's possible. And I go, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. With the consumerization of IT, now general managers and business leaders are walking into the technology departments and saying, this is what I want. I want it for free and I want it yesterday. And so, that dynamic, the consumerization of IT, I think has led to a very natural progression of business decision makers. I think the second thing that's happened, I don't mean to offend anybody with this, but I think IT as a function has often let the business down. And so IT has built very inflexible organizations. They built departments of no, uh, and that they're about control and comply and conform instead of enable, innovate, accelerate. And so when you put those two dynamics together, we see the businesses having a lot more control over budgets and over decision making because of consumerization of IT and the fact that traditional IT organizations have been more infrastructure, hardware, security oriented, and they use those as excuses to not enable, innovate, and accelerate. So those are the two big shifts I've seen.
Yeah. Well said. Thank you for that insight. So the big question is, and you've spent many, many years being an incredible partner with Microsoft and still are. Um, why are you considering now investing? Because it is a big investment to start a new partnership, in this case with AWS. Where do you see the business evolving as a result of that desire to want to build an AWS practice?
So, if you look at our history as a company, we started out as primarily a staff aug company, and we were all things to all people. And once we got through Y2K and the recession of 2001, we realized that you can't be all things to all people, and we felt like we had to be really good in order to be the kind of company that we wanted to be. And so in the mid 2000s, the company made I think, a good strategic decision to focus on the Microsoft solution set. And the concept was anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, if people said, hey, who's a great Microsoft partner? We wanted the answer to be Skyline. We were about a $7 or $8 million company. We had 60 or 70 people at that point in time. And so we really gave our customers and our associates the gift of focus. From an associate standpoint, they could build their skills and narrow the breadth of everything that you could learn in IT to the Microsoft stack. And again, when our clients engaged with us, we were just really good at the Microsoft stack and what we did. And to be clear, Microsoft's been a great partner,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
continue to be a Microsoft partner. We're gold in all kinds of areas, and we're managed partners, and we sit on advisory committees within that company. But I started this discussion with follow the customer. And when we go in and consult with our customers, we're talking to them not just about custom software, modern applications. We also have a very large data practice. We also do a lot with office productivity and modern workplace tools. And people are asking us around strategy and roadmaps, and we felt like if we didn't understand what all the alternatives were, it makes it very difficult for us to give quality coaching to our clients. And so we last year had two very, very large projects, one on the Amazon cloud and one on GCP. And so we got exposed to, frankly, the tool sets and capabilities outside of the Microsoft stack. And we did some analysis, and at the end of the movie, really loved a lot of the microservices and the capability that we saw from the Amazon tool. And we felt like in order to be very good consultants to our clients, we needed to be able to talk to them about all the options that they had. And that led us to actually a meeting with you in Chicago, where we spent some time really digging into, hey, what are all the capabilities that sit on AWS? And we walked away and said, we need to be able to talk to our customers about this. Frankly, we think we're going to sell more Azure because we understand AWS and Google. We also think we'll sell more AWS, and we also think we'll sell more Google because we can talk to them about, we think for this application, this is the right solution. And our credibility goes up. And I always want to start with what is right for the client. And we think, the more we know about all the options, the better we're able to coach the client through that transition. And so that's what led us on this journey. It kind of always starts and ends with the client, doesn't it?
It sure does. Mitch, I can't thank you enough for your time and just an excellent discussion and insight into Skyline and quite a storied past and where you're going in the future. I really appreciate it. I got to ask you though, would you be willing to come back for an encore?
You bet. Let's get some votes from the people who watch this around what they'd like to talk about, and I'd be happy to do that. And Chip, thanks for the opportunity to have this discussion.
Thank you very much.
We love to talk about our clients and what we're trying to do to serve them, on any of the fronts that we do, and it's a nice opportunity to do that again. So thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.